First of all, thank you everybody for coming out. We really appreciate the support, and we're going to kind of wing it a little bit. We're going to keep it easy, and we'll just take it where it goes, right? Good. A lot of people have been asking where, how did this book come about? Why did you write this book? And I have to say that the book actually started, in a way, I've been working on this book for almost 4 years now. While I was working on American Sniper, which I wrote with Chris Kyle, who's another great American. One night, Chris and I were hanging around in his den, and we were looking at some pictures. The picture came up of some guys who were about to go out on a SEAL mission, and I noticed that one of them was a lot taller than the other people in the room, and was wearing a slightly different uniform. And I said, "Who's that big guy?" Chris is a Texan, and Chris kind of looks at me and says, "Well, that's the only Iraqi I ever trusted with a gun." I was like, "Oh, that's pretty interesting, man. Tell me about that." So told me that was a translator they called Johnny Walker, and Chris started telling me about some of the missions. And I have to say that I write fiction, and the stories that Chris was telling me sounded so much more remarkable and more fictional and more thrilling than stories that I've ever come up with, that I almost stopped writing novels then. We ended up putting Johnny in the book in American Sniper, but he's in about a paragraph. We changed his name and his background because we were very worried at the time. We thought that he was still, Johnny, we thought that you were still in Iraq. When our book came out, American Sniper came out, and Chris was actually doing a book signing, I think, in California. And Johnny went out and just showed up. And as Chris told the story later on, Chris said, "I called him up there. I thought he was dead," and called him up and made him stand up in front of the room and told everyone the truth, that Johnny Walker, Chris Kyle is known as a man who saved a lot of SEAL lives and a lot of Iraqi lives. And Chris told that crowd and told me and has told everybody that he could that Johnny Walker saved more SEALs and more Americans and more Iraqis than Chris ever could. So it's just a remarkable story, and I'm not sure if it was the next day, but soon after, Chris got hold of our publisher, our editor actually, Peter Hubbard, who's really been a big help for us, and said, "Peter, you are doing this book, boy, because this man is really important." And that's kind of where we started. Yep. So Johnny, why don't you tell us a little bit, you were born in a city of Mosul,
correct,
Iraq. Why don't you tell us about that?
So, first time, I want to thank all of you guys for all your support, and I apologize for my broken English, but Jim, he will explain that. I want to thank Matt, that guy. I met him in 2003 in Mosul, and this is the first time I saw him after all these years.
Matt, why don't you stand up? Matt's an Army veteran, and he really put his life on the line for us.
Clap for him.
Thank you. So tell us about yourself.
I born in 1964 in Mosul. Grew up like normal child and play basketball, high jump, and all my dream in that time, I want to live in America one of the days, and unfortunately start marriage and having kids and wife, and this looked like my dream disappeared. Matt, you know, I tried so hard to work with Americans at the beginning, and I couldn't have any chance, and this looked like in deep my heart, this is wrong. I deserve this chance. I am the best one for this job. So anyway, by accident, I started working with military police.
Wait a second. No, wait. You see, the problem with dealing with Johnny is Johnny is just a little too humble. Here's what actually happened. So he had been trying to get jobs for quite a while to support his family. There were no jobs. Working with the Americans, at that time, the Americans were very, they were very honored because they had liberated the country.
Correct.
So Johnny tried to get a job, didn't get a job, and we go into more detail on the book, but basically he couldn't get a job and he was down to, he had enough money to buy a pack of cigarettes or his kid's lunch.
Or taxi to go back.
Or a taxi to go back. So he decided, the heck with the taxi, I can walk. The kids can have lunch and I can buy 2 cigarettes or 3 cigarettes, whatever it was. So he bought the cigarettes, he's walking home in Mosul, which is not the greatest place. And all of a sudden he comes upon some MPs at a discussion with some Iraqi ladies. Okay, tell us about that.
So we are walking to, like, this is happened by accident. I walk in this side and the 3 females, they walk in the right side. And I hear them, they talk bad things about the American forces and just look like, yeah, this is what I need. I have no enough money to survive my kids, and right now I'm gonna end up fighting with military police without no weapon, without anything, because part of our traditional, I have to protect our women no matter what, if I know them or not. So anyway, it looks like I'm thinking like fast what I should do. So I come up with a plan. I have to go to the military police and ask him, hey guys, can you let me fix this issue? If they give me this chance, maybe I will try to make those female avoid any issue with the military police. And at the end of the night, everyone's gonna be happy.
So basically you're a marriage counselor.
In that time, kind of. So anyway, when the females start coming up and it's night time and I start looking at them and I know them and I know the background of those females and it's look like, what are you guys doing? So when they look at me, it's look like, oh, we are so sorry. We didn't mean to do anything. And I told them, you know what? You have only one option. You have to go right now to your house, or you guys can have something bad with me. So the Sergeant Burr, when he saw what I did with the female and I fixed the issue, he asked me if I can work with him. So I told him, you know what, I will love it. Yeah, why not? And at that time, one of the boyfriends for the girls, he came to me and he started talking.
Johnny just asked if we could use a bad word. I said no.
We're in New York.
So anyway, he came to me and he started giving me a hard time and talking bad word about me and my family. So it looks like, you know what, I'm done with you. So I catch him and I beat him, his face, blood, whatever. I don't know, few ribs broken. And the military police, they told me, you know what, stop, just leave him. You work with us from now.
Just a side note on that story, Sergeant Byrd recently had been out of contact with Johnny for pretty much since several months after that, and just recently, because of the book, got in touch with Johnny again, and that's been one of the great side notes, or of this whole process, that a lot of the men and women who served with Johnny in Iraq have been getting in touch with him. It's really, really heartwarming part of the story. So Johnny went to work with the MPs as an interpreter, and he made such a great name for himself that when the SEALs came to Mosul in a few months later on, they had already heard of the toughest interpreter in Iraq, and they asked for Johnny Walker, and Sergeant Byrd was very reluctant to give you up, but eventually did.
Sergeant Beast.
And Sergeant Beast. So, so you started working with the SEALs, and Johnny, did you know what SEALs were at first?
No. So the first time when I hear about SEALs, it looked like, what does that mean? I couldn't find it anyway, and my English at that time, Matt, was better than his Arabic now. So I have no clue what I'm dealing with, and it looked like, what I'm doing, what I'm end up with. I love America, but those people are scary. Be